This is Paul. Yes. I was just looking at the saving property doctrine. Oh, the doctrine that a defendant who, through his negligence, has caused damage to another's property is also liable for any personal injury suffered by the owner of that property in his attempts to save it. Oh, then there's the statute of limitations. Ooch. Suing for the recovery of a debt or for damages before the statute of limitations runs out. The statute of limitations is a specified number of years from the time the debt was incurred or the damage was inflicted. Oh, now I just wanted to make sure that we look at this saving property doctrine, Coach. I wanted to call Santa Claus today because it seems that those in law enforcement think that God's kind of a big Santa Claus, and if they've been nice all year, God will give them what they ask. Pooch. They call it praying to Santa Claus. And then if they've been naughty and nice, ooch, they won't get what they ask. Now, as a citizen, I understood that the laws had to be enforced, that God is not Santa Claus. Now, I wanted to call the North Pole. Could you give me every frequency and all antennas on the North Pole? Yes. Yes. Exactly where is Santa Claus's residence? Now, it's important to me as a father, a good Christian father, that I would not dispel any beliefs about Santa Claus, but it seemed that those in office had thought that God was Santa Claus and they could have whatever they want. Now, when I think about this saving property doctrine, let's say you decided to frame me for crimes I didn't commit. Yes. And you thought, well, Santa Claus lives on the North Pole and there must be a worldwide broadcast system. Now, I do know there's a seed bank up there. Maybe the Gates remember when they decided to take one of every seed in the event of worldwide cataclysmic destruction. But as a citizen of the United States, when you refuse to enforce the laws, the requirements of the law, the First Amendment right to have separation of the state from my church beliefs, yes. And then you refuse to enforce the 14th Amendment rights of my 5 sons as students of any public school system, yes. And you refuse to investigate and enforce the rights of Marilyn to not have somebody else represent her image. It could have been that you were all praying to Santa Claus. Now, as that individual, okay, I'm going to want the North and South Poles today. Could you put a satellite over the North Pole and just find out what television's being broadcast from up there? Because I thought somebody had a very special studio where they were making Christian television for those in the Mormon way. And they thought they'd go the way of the state of Washington or the United States, where you would just program the thoughts of students to accept your way. Now, on the North Pole, it looked to me like it's been diminishing in size. Could you just take a snapshot of exactly how big the North Pole is? And considering the weather, it's kind of been warm during the summertime in the North America. Now, I had mentioned that I wanted to be the North Pole of the United States, and is there anything in Alaska that I should know about? Is there anything at that seed bank, Bill and Melinda Gates, where we invested all those billions of dollars to be able to revegetate humanity? Now, if you wanted, you don't have any seeds of any animals up there. There's not at a secret lab where you took the eggs of every known mammal. As an American citizen, when I find out that you don't enforce the laws, you frame innocent Americans for crimes they didn't commit, you wouldn't admit the evidence, and then for some stupid reason, give me the North and South Pole right now, you decided to fabricate Christianity to fit your own beliefs.